And hello, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Swanton Today. Happy to have two folks from Swanton Town, two folks from Swanton Village joining us on the set. David Juscavage, the Swanton Town Administrator. David,
hi.
Good to see you. Reg Beliveau, the Swanton Village Manager. Reg.
Richard.
Jeff Raleigh, outgoing Swanton
Richard.
Selectman. Jeff, good to see you.
Good to see
and
you.
Adam Paxton, the Swanton Village Trustee. Thanks for your time, folks. We're taping this show on Tuesday, February 13th, in case we don't talk about some huge news that happens in Swanton, taping the show on February 13th. So, boy, town meeting day not too far away. David, the town in good shape checked out your warning today. Town meeting not too far away. You prepared for another town meeting?
Yes, we are. We have our informational meeting coming up on Monday, February 26th.
Right.
7 p.m. in the Village Complex, and that's when the Select Board goes over next year's proposed budget and with a slideshow. And the school, the elementary school, also presents their budget for the coming year.
Thanks for mentioning that. I'm sure there'll be a huge crowd at that meeting, right?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, don't tend to get too great attendance, but thanks for mentioning that. Mm-hmm. Adam, does the village have an info meeting also, or not?
Yeah, our info meeting will be Tuesday, February 27th at 7.
Next night?
Yep, the next night, and we'll go through our ballot and the warning and everything, and we're hopeful of a nice crowd.
Yep, I guess one can always hope. I guess we should mention no contests in either the village or town. And in fact, kind of jumping out of me looking at the town ballot today, boy, in fact, I guess, Jeff, you're leaving the select board, not running for re-election.
Yeah, I'm going to take a break.
Take a break.
Maybe come back in a year or so.
And indeed, nobody, boy, it sounds like you had such big shoes to fill that nobody thought they could deal with it, I guess, huh?
Not quite sure why, but yeah.
So a vacant spot. Nobody filed for the 2-year term. Incumbent Daniel Bilodeau running for re-election for the 3-year term.
Correct.
So again, it just seems like we probably talk about this every year at this time, that town meeting seems to just kind of fade a little bit. But is that an indication that town meeting day is fading a bit, or just Reg speaks to kind of the busyness of people, or a little discouraging when there's a open slot, in this case on the town side? Or how do you see the village? I guess all the slots, all the incumbents are running for re-election on the village side. Neil Spear, the village president, Chris Leach for trustee, Diane Day for clerk, and Betty Cheney, collector of delinquent taxes. So no open slots on the village side, but again, just kind of speaks to the busyness of today, or what do you think?
I mean, one would hope it's because, they're happy.
You're doing such a good job.
They're happy with what their elected officials are doing, so they feel no need to interject. But I mean, just having people there to we take a lot of time to get the presentations together to have good conversation. Just to come out and mingle would be nice. I know we talked about trying to have both the village and the town's informational meeting on the same night to see if we increase the crowd. But this year there just seemed to be so much happening, on both ballots, that we just thought we'd keep it separate again and, maybe work on it more in the coming year.
Jeff, what do you think? I'm sure you probably talked to some folks. A little discouraging that nobody jumped in on your seat?
I mean, the reason I got involved was there was an open space, and I was asked to run, and I thought it'd be nice to kind of get educated as to what's going on in our community and just how much is going on behind the scenes in town, even in small town politics. Exactly how much is going on. So you get a great education. I think everybody should come out and at least try it and get their feet wet and get educated as to what all these guys really do on not one board, but most of them are on several boards.
So it was a good, worthwhile 2 years for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Very educational. I enjoyed the board, and it has nothing to do with any of that. I've got my fingers in a lot of different things in terms of donating time. So, but I'll probably come back, like I said. Planning on it. So,
but you would not accept an appointment to come back sooner than you're looking for, huh?
Well, I don't know. Rumor has it John and Joel were going to handcuff me before I actually left. So I don't know, but
so you wouldn't totally close the door on that?
I wouldn't totally close the door on it, but I think I need a break.
Yeah. And that is, of course, the select board, again, unless someone gets enough write-in votes, and no talk of a write-in candidate at this point?
None that are chasing the position.
I suspect you may get some write-in votes, but nothing you're encouraging at this point.
Right,
huh?
no, yeah, I suspect I probably will at least get 5 or 6 here, just from some of the people sitting close to me. I've got a pretty good...
What does it take, 30 write-in votes, or am I high on that number? Do you know, David, do you know what that...
30.
30?
Yeah, 30's the...
So 30 would do it.
So.
Anyway, but if nobody gets enough write-in votes, then the select board, the 4 select board members can appoint.
Right.
That appointment would last for just till the next town meeting?
Right.
Not in this case for the 2-year term, just
No.
next town meeting?
Correct.
Interesting. Has that happened? I don't recall that happening in Swanton. And of course the board went from 3 to 5 members some years back.
Right, about 3 years back.
Yeah. Anyway. Reg, on village warnings, it looks like pretty much a typical annual meeting warning-wise.
Yeah, we have. There's a couple of things on there. We got the.
We'll ask Adam about the coin drop in a second.
Yeah. Coin. Yeah, get him started on that. We'll never get it. We have the MVU water line. That's a piece that it's a 1960s era water line, and that's one of the projects that we wanted to finish, but we ran out of funds with the other project. So we had worked on it for a couple of years, and we'd like to finish that up. MVU has money that they had put aside to help with the connection to this water line. So we'll put it all under one contract. I believe it's $435,000.
Right.
Put it under one contract, but MVU will pay up to, I think, $193,000. So the rest of it will, that'll help with that bond, and that'll finish up that leg.
That was a question I had, obviously. So it's mostly a municipal issue or a joint issue to some extent?
So I believe the story that I understand years ago that when Missisquoi was built, they put in their own water line, and then they basically turned it over to the municipality, and that's how we acquired it. But it's since its construction now, it should be replaced.
And I guess you gave the date again. The school goes back to 1970, so that water line's got some years on it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the one item that kind of jumps out a little different.
Yeah, and there's already some residents along that line too that want to do a connection.
Oh, really?
Okay.
So you may get some more business out of that one with the new line.
Yeah.
And it may open us up, if there's expansion by the airport or anything like that, we're ready to roll.
So that might be of some use then for...
There has been some conversation about expansion there, and trying to look at the logistics on that. But yeah, and there's another development across from MVU's parking lot or driveway, so there may be opportunities there too. So,
Adam, the coin drop, that seems to be you're as I recall, you're not particularly high on coin drop.
Not particularly high on it. The reason I had asked to put it back on was the vote count was a difference of 4 last year.
Very close. It
was 4
in favor of keeping them going.
Right. So I'm going to ask one more time for this year, and if the answer comes back the same, then I will probably drop it. I do feel that we have too many. Having 6 a year is a lot. The amount of traffic that goes through, yes, while it's beneficial to the coin drop, it's a very bad safety hazard. It's not conducive, where we have it. People could get hurt. It's always a coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to see people getting hurt. I think the organizations, there are other opportunities to raise money. I don't think coin drops are good for our community. They're for 6 times a year. If it was once or twice, I might not bark so loud, but it's 6 times a year, and it's just way too much.
And there are different organizations who
Different
benefit?
organizations, yep. There's requirements that they have to meet in order to have one.
Are you maxed out at 6? Could it be more than 6, or that's the max?
Max is 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
but it's just to have one every single month in our community, it's going to take away from our tourism. I really believe that. People are going to come in, they're going to say, "Oh, there's another coin drop." I don't want to hear that. I want people to come in. Yes, I want them to spend their money here, but I want them to spend it throughout,
Yeah.
not just giving, $5 or $10 at a coin drop or whatever, and then leaving because they went through another one.
Speaking of tourism, makes me think of the Swan issue. You do have a successor for
Yeah, we do have a successor for Betty.
for Betty.
Yep, she'll be coming in the spring, and we're all excited. Sam's doing very well, very pleased with his progress.
Sam's in the neighborhood, of course.
Yeah, he's in the neighborhood up at MVU.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids in the ag department, they've done a tremendous job, keeping him, healthy and alive, and he's enjoying the surroundings, and, his two friends, Zorro, and I don't know who the other duck is, but...
Oh, is that right? Some ducks are there,
yeah,
too?
there are two ducks that he's befriended him, and, he's doing very well with them, and we're looking forward to, probably the week before Memorial Day, I'm hoping that we can open up the pond and, get them in. So...
Was Betty, I know, and Crowd will tell you about it, what a hassle it was to, get the swans back. Did you think, obviously you hoped getting a replacement for Betty would go easier? Did it go easier than you thought? Or?
It went a lot easier than we thought. We had very little issue. It was just a matter of finding the swan, and we'll be bringing her in, in the next couple of months, and getting her acclimated to the community, and vice versa.
Good. So that went a lot better.
Yep, very well.
David, you've dealt with a number of how many budgets? How long have you been town administrator?
It'll be 6 years in April.
Wow. All your budget work, I'm sure you've been immersed in for a good while. Anything much different about this year than other years? Does it get more complicated every year, or about the same?
No, it's about the same.
Yeah.
And the select board does a good job on dealing well with the expenses and keeping them down, and looking out for the taxpayers.
Yeah. But budget increase, how'd you fare with the proposed budget, the town budget?
Yep, it went up just a little this year.
Yeah.
I have to put my reading glasses on here.
Fine.
Okay, there was just a 1.43% increase in the general budget.
Yeah.
And and that's assuming that all the articles pass. The amount, the total budget would be $1,213,174, and of that amount, $501,398 would be raised by taxes. In the highway, that went up by way less than 1%. It's 0.0075% increase, which is minuscule. And it went from $1,321,253. That's what the budget is for the highway for this coming year. And the amount to be raised by taxes is $849,041. And the total for both, assuming all to be raised by taxes if all articles pass, would be $1,350,439.
So I feel like you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, as I said, the select board does a really good job on keeping expenses down, and we depend on highway grants and other types of grants during the year to offset expenses.
Jeff, you happy with the budget work? You think you're in pretty good shape?
I think we've done a pretty good job keeping things pretty close to level, in most areas. Some of those increases, some of the things you can't help. You just gotta, there's some natural cost of living stuff that you have to battle on an annual basis, and just try to keep it down for the taxpayers.
Missisquoi Valley Rescue proposed budget about a little under $242,000. That's up. Do I remember like about 6% or something? Does that sound about right? Some increase in that? I don't know if you
have to check.
Have that figure. And again, Missisquoi Valley Rescue is faring okay, just with Swanton having lost Highgate. Is that
Seem to be doing fine.
Seem to be doing okay?
Yep.
And I believe, I don't have the Highgate warning in front of me. I think Highgate folks may be voting on what rescue service they want, although I'm not sure if you know that. I haven't seen a Highgate warning, but I thought that issue might be coming back, but I might be wrong.
That's an annual thing anyhow,
Is it an annual thing?
Isn't it? I don't know, Reg.
I don't know. I think there's a contract with Amcare, but I think, I'm not sure if it's on the ballot this
Yeah,
year.
I'm not sure how it's worded, maybe in the future when the contract comes up, but again, I don't have that in front of me. Where Swanton has, again, a lot of articles on the Swanton warning, but that's pretty typical. Is that, that's now different, what, 30, 32, 33 articles?
Right, there's only one new one on there. This year, the select board decided to put all those that have been funded every year as part of the normal budget process on for people to vote on to see if, to give them the opportunity to decide if any particular charitable organization was something they wanted to help fund. So it's a little different than the past few years where the ones that had already been approved by the select board were consolidated into the budget.
Oh, yeah.
And so this year they decided to let the voters have a say in each one.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of organizations looking for some bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Do they come in, do they have to make a presentation to the select board and make their case to you folks, Jeff?
Yeah, that's they come in and tell us what they're looking for, and we just put it as a line item. That way, we're not really making the decision. The voters are making the decision. And I know they had broke out. Previously, they had all been together, and this way they break them out just to check with the voters to make sure we're doing everything that our constituents want us to do. You know, not make too many decisions on giving our tax dollars away.
A few years ago, I think the town had a kind of a public opinion survey on a number of questions. As I vaguely recall, did the Secretary of State's office get on your case for doing something like that, or am I dreaming that? Was there some criticism of that, or no?
I don't recollect it.
Is that right?
I don't know.
So I know one of the issues at that point, I think, concerned the village dam. The Swantonians would support keeping the village dam, and probably Swanton Wind was on there at one point, was it not? Showing strong opposition to the Swanton Wind project. Anyway, but you don't have anything like that this year?
No, I don't think. I think they. No. Are we? I don't think. No, nothing like that on the ballot.
Adam, how'd you? Any budget issues that jumped out at you? Is this kind of a normal budget process? Or?
Normal budget process. As Jeff said, we're the same boat. There's certain things that come up every year that we need to address. What was the word I was looking for? The workman's comp, was a challenge for us this year. But it's part of doing business, and you've got to protect your people.
Yeah.
So it's health insurance has gone up, and what do you do?
Yeah. You had 3 retirements in there too. There where you have to hire in another person, so there's going to be overlap in there. So there was an extra, in the salaries for that.
In terms of budget increases, Reg, I assume some increases. Did you keep that pretty much hold the line, or how'd you fare on that front?
It was, I think overall it was like
4.38.
Yeah, 4.38. Yeah, 3.8, 3.4, something like that. That's where everything came in. It was the like Jeff said, some of the cost of living was in there, and those salaries were in there. There was another line item for PTSD coverage for the police department, and that was huge this year. That was a big increase there.
Sorry, PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress.
Oh, really?
For the police department, it was a mandate, I believe.
Oh, is that right? Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I found MVR. Last year, it actually went down this year. Last year was 249,000.
Oh, really?
This year it's down to 241,700 for a minus 2.93%.
Wow,
decrease.
So a decrease, in fact.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting. So, Reg, budget issues, nothing too out of the ordinary, kind of.
No, I know the one line item is going to be coming on. It's actually in the town also, but with the fire department, they're looking for a couple of trucks.
Okay.
And
that issue got some attention. There were those who wanted to just go with one new truck, and others wanted to go with 2 new trucks.
Yeah, I mean, we get the process is, or the request is, replace 3 trucks with 2. We have it's a pumper tanker, and we get rid of the tanker, and the new aerial, which over the years, just as long as I've been in the fire department, 30 plus years, the auxiliary, the fire department's volunteer organization has always purchased a ladder truck for the community. So as long as I've been there, I recognize 3 ladder trucks. So if that was a new purchase, I mean, you're looking probably about $3.5 million that the firefighters have donated back to the community over these years. And so there's an ask now for those 2 vehicles. And I believe the increase on a $200,000 home was like $22 a year increase with the purchase of 2. And it's, and it's because of the rotations of the vehicles and the ages of them, you try to, you kind of got out of sync, and this is hopefully to get them back in sync so you don't have this massive, you don't have 2 vehicle purchases. Now you can start staggering them. So.
But the fire department could definitely use an upgrade with these vehicles.
I mean, you look at just recently the rescues for the flooding. I mean, it is demonstrated their capacity and their competency and the need, for this type of equipment. And I mean, so yeah, they take their training serious, and they utilize the monies that the taxpayers give them quite well. So.
Speaking of flooding, certainly on my agenda, a huge issue. Boy, tough times for a number of. How many folks affected? I mean, a couple dozen families or so, or
31 homes.
31 homes.
And
wow.
Some had very minor impact. Others very extensive.
Any total losses in there to some of those homes?
At least 2.
Really?
That are so badly damaged
Wow.
they'd be totaled.
Yeah, they'll wind up complete rebuilds.
Is that right?
Yeah, probably right down to the frame inside. But
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough times, as I noted in one of my.
A long 3 days, and I just want to thank Reg for all the work and the time that he put in on this, and as not only village manager and every other hat that he wears, he's also our emergency services person for the whole of Swanton. And when he got the call, I mean, he went to work, he put his guys in place, they all did their jobs, and I just want to commend Reg for the work that he did, because it's.
In fact, I think we
people don't
talked
know.
about this before, Reg. I think that's when I first dealt with you as a reporter back with the '98 ice storm.
Yep.
So you're still wearing that hat.
Yeah.
No injuries or no injuries.
Nobody got hurt, so that was the blessing.
Wow.
So, and just to put it into perspective, when the temperatures rose 60 degrees and we got 2 inches of rain.
Yeah.
The word that I heard was, and how the Missisquoi comes from Jay Peak area, that Jay Peak lost 19 feet of snowpack.
Wow.
So all of that goes into the Missisquoi, plus the other tributaries that go into the Missisquoi. The Berkshire River gauge rose 10 feet.
Really?
And then also the Swanton's river gauge right there in Missisquoi rose 10 feet.
Wow.
So within 24 hours, it rose roughly 6 inches an hour to get that 10 feet of rise. The record, I believe, was 9.4, and it was 13.4, 13.6, something like that.
Wow.
So that was the gauge. It was, it was like a foot or so from the bridge, the bottom of the bridge, a natural gas line and the water main. So it was quite contentious. But I mean, I appreciate what Adam said. That's nice to hear that. But we have such a great crew. I mean, the fire chief, Timmy Gerard, he and we worked at our previous job together in a lot of emergencies. He understood how I operate, and I understood how he operated. So it went very seamless. The incident command structure worked very well in this case, and one of the big shout outs I think I'd like to give. I mean, a lot of high state agencies showed up. I mean, Governor Phil Scott showed up.
Oh yeah.
I had the head of VTrans was there. Vermont Emergency Management showed up. Chris Herrick, Joe Flynn was there. I had multiple calls from Erica Bordeman, also. And Phil Scott called me. Governor Scott called me every day.
Really?
For a few days just to check in, say what's going on. And I mean, to me, the '98 ice storm, as compared to this one, was, the '98 we had to beg, borrow, and steal, I guess, to try to figure out what agencies we had, what resources were out there. This one, I mean, they were just right there.
Really?
Calling you.
Is that right? That's nice to hear that.
I had, so at 1 o'clock in the morning, I believe, is when the pager went out, and by the time I made it out there, Vermont Emergency Management watch officer was calling me on my cell phone. He said, "Hey, Reggie, you know what's up?"
Wow.
I says, "Yeah, I kind of do. I'm right here."
And the date being, what was it? What date are we talking?
13th of January, so
Yeah,
it's Saturday.
13th. Okay.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, so they were right there.
Wow.
I mean, I couldn't, I tell you,
Wow.
couldn't ask for more support than what we got.
Right. So before it happened, I mean, talked about the J-Peak situation. Could you tell you were going to be in for a tough time, or is that what you thought, or was it just not that clear much ahead of time?
You get those days where you just you pray more than we're not going to see anything horrible.
Yeah.
And that we saw something horrible.
Wow.
So, but like David said, there were I believe 91 homes were touched. So as far as inspected, visited, are you guys okay? Yes, we're okay. Out of that, it dwindled down to about 31. I believe the last list I saw was 24 in Swanton, 3 in Highgate. And this weekend there's another crew of folks going out to volunteer to help clean up these homes and help these families out. So there's a lot of outreach also. And the local lumber yard, Swanton Lumber, is donating stuff and also reduced cost on stuff. We got that A1 carpet. They're giving half price carpeting.
Wow.
The solid waste district has the names of all the victims, so when they bring their refuse there, they'll take it for nothing.
Wow.
So there's a lot of outreach. The banks are coming forward to help out. The local churches have taken donations. So so there's a lot of coming together here, which is very heartwarming and stuff. But and then everybody's cognizant of the scams. So I mean, all these agencies have addresses and they understand who the people in jeopardy are and had issues. So you can't just Joe Blow go and drop off your stuff and say, "Hey, I was part of the flooding," because no.
Some of these folks have flood insurance, I assume.
Some did.
Some did, some didn't.
Right. And those that are in the floodplain are eligible to have it. But it usually a bank that has a mortgage on a house will require that the owner get the flood insurance.
Yeah.
But if somebody has their house paid outright, it's up to them to decide if they want to get the flood insurance.
If there's no mortgage, then they might not have had it.
Because it's a little more expensive.
Right.
Then there are others that were outside the floodplain but got flooded that didn't have insurance. A normal insurance policy won't cover flood damage.
Really? Wow.
So
some of these folks are in pretty tough shape.
Well, some of them had deductibles. They were saying up into $14,000.
Really?
So
Deductibles?
Yeah, deductibles. So I mean, it's the federal flood insurance program. The policies are really expensive.
Which got, of course, a ton of attention, obviously, with the hurricanes.
And I think that's what the heck the word I want to say. There lies the issue. You had Irene, you had Katrina, all of these hurricanes and the flooding, and yeah, I think insurance companies are like, gun shy now.
Jeff, impressed again. Just a lot of folks coming together in the wake of this tough times. Huh?
Well, it was incredible.
Yeah.
I was actually just getting back into town, and things were things happened very quickly.
Yeah.
They got a lot of support. I know we got some support from Colchester too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Colchester
Colchester Technical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
technical. So those, and
Yeah.
there was Stowe came and helped
Stowe
us.
Technical
So
Rescue.
we really,
National Guard came in.
yeah, we got a tremendous amount of help from outside, and all the people, Reg, and all the people in town, and it was incredible, really.
Reg, I'm sure you're concerned. I know I talked to you a week or two ago, and I said, "How are you doing?" Day by day was one day at a time, which I can understand. At this point, we'll see what the weather. It seems like I'm not seeing any sign of just wicked Arctic cold for a while anyway. I'm sure you're concerned given what happened, but are you cautiously optimistic? You're okay, or is it just hard to say?
The next couple of weeks look very good,
Yeah.
favorable. I'm on a conference call once a week now with the National Weather Service.
Oh, really?
So they give us updates, and you know, they'll answer as much questions as I ask them, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, you get this ebbs and flow where, you know, it's going to warm up, but we're not going to get the torrential rain.
Yeah.
You know, we lost a lot of snowpack. We got some snow, but
Yeah.
we don't have that tremendous snowpack that we were having
Right.
earlier. So, yeah, we just got to be just be diligent, and
Yeah.
you know, like I said, we had Adam sprinkling holy water on the bridge, keep the ice away from it. and
Whatever
stuff.
it takes.
Whatever it takes.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, we're just day by day still.
Right. Speaking and the dam issue, we're still looking for a spring replacement for the Highgate Springs Dam.
Yeah.
Is that and again the dam is in the country. It made it over from China at some point.
Yeah, it's sitting in our substation right now.
Oh, it's in the sub. Oh,
Yeah, we had it offloaded
So so it made it up here, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, it had a Christmas bow on it.
Wow. So again, probably May or sometime in spring, late spring.
We're hoping because of we have to see what the Fish and Wildlife will allow us, A&R, because of the walleye and the sturgeon spawning and stuff. We don't want to have too much activity in the river, so we'll have to play that out and see how that goes. But I'm hoping for you know, at least to be able to start probably mid-June or so, end of June, to be able to start the construction and the installation. So it should be a week or two on the outside to do the replacement. So
it looks like probably June at this point.
yeah, I believe so. I mean, that's my guess.
Right. And villagers already approved. You had the special vote, late last year on that.
Yeah.
Strong approval, as I recall, and
Yeah.
typically small turnout, but
Yeah.
so the funding's there. Electricity rates, typically about the lowest in the state. That has or will kick that up a bit, but not too much.
So the original plan,
Yeah.
with the other bonds dropping off and then this one coming in,
Yeah.
that we're optimistic. We're hoping that we're going to stay level in our electric rates.
Yeah.
But we had a couple of major solar projects come in to the community, so that will impact. But at this point, we don't know what the rate impact is going to be. They just come online, I believe, in December, I think it was, or January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swanton wind quiet for now. Of course, last year the applicant pulled the application, at least for the time being, so not much shock about the controversial Swanton wind project at this point.
No, we haven't heard much from Swanton Wind directly, only what we've been reading in the paper about their attempt to
Yeah.
get a reimbursement for their application.
Right. And you got some help, you got some financial help from Fairfield and St. Albans Town with that, David. How
Correct.
much have you got a price tag that? I mean, the town spent some fairly serious bucks fighting that to date.
We had pledges of up to $10,000 from
Right.
each of those towns, plus Swanton put in $10,000, but there was still a good deal left of that at the time the application was withdrawn. So the select board directed me to send them thank you notes, both those towns,
Yeah.
which I did, and we'll see what happens from now on.
Yeah.
The ball's no longer in our court. It's
Yeah.
we're just waiting to see what their next move would be.
Jeff, that didn't, obviously not a real popular project around Swanton. Seems like quite a bit of opposition to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know exactly what the percentage was when we put it on the ballot. We had
What about 4-1 against?
yeah, it
pretty
was like
significant, I think.
80-20. It was significant. Yeah. So when that many people in town are against something, then we're in a position that we got to do everything we can to not let that happen, and not really. Nothing against the developer or anything like that. It's not a personal thing. It has to do with your voters.
Yeah.
You know, it's you just got to do what you can. And obviously, Fairfield and St. Albans were feeling they were going to be impacted as well, and they were concerned.
Any sense of what the Public Utility Commission, that's the new name for what the old Public Service Board, or Public Service Board, I guess, Public Utility Commission, any sense, do you get the sense that these folks are just less inclined to be favorable toward a big, wind farm project, Reg? Any sense of that?
You know, they're not going to take a stance. How they feel, that's their job. Governor Scott is,
the governor's no fan of industrial wind.
right. He's made that known. So
Yeah.
yep.
Anyway, so one less issue to deal with, which I can only assume is just fine with you folks for now, huh?
Yep.
Amen.
100%.
Interesting. The Swanton Gordy Winters, the
Yep.
downtown hardware store, is that pretty much a go at this point?
So we're waiting on. So there's a lot of moving parts with this
Yeah.
with this downtown development. Right now we're working with David Fosgate. He's building another building so we can take the tenant we had in there
Yeah.
and move it over there. As you know, that the Stanislaus had graciously purchased the Wayside Furniture store. There was an article in the paper today about that, the
That
McDonald's.
story about the folks going out of business after, what, 38 years or something?
38 years,
Long
yeah.
time.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's a wonderful thing that you've got some local people that see the need for a youth center, teen center, and willing to help fund that. So we're waiting on these pieces. So we're hoping to start preliminary work probably same time period, June time period, and to start Gordon to start doing that work with the Prouty building, and then probably some landscaping, and then once August or so comes in, then start working on the auditorium.
So that project seemed, I mean, pretty much a done deal, pretty close.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a done deal. There's still a little brownfield stuff that still going on, but for the most part, it should be a go. Yeah.
Interesting. And Jeff, Adam, that project seems to be playing to very favorable reviews.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of support behind it.
Yeah.
It's going to reinvent our downtown, which is something that, if you go back to 2000, 2001, or maybe even the late 90s when they had the Swanton Revitalization Group, it was always, if we had the money, here's what we could do. Or if we had a developer, here's what we could do. We have a developer, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's finally going to come to fruition. It's going to revitalize our downtown, and it's going to help us take a look at other areas of the downtown and see where we can improve that as well. And just keep running.
Anything else of a particular note going on downtown at this point?
Well, the so-called Northern Gateway project, which
Yeah.
is on the other side of the bridge,
Yeah.
where the four corners are.
Yeah.
A consultant was hired with a grant from the Regional Planning Commission. They completed their study, and so there have already been some improvements made.
Some
in
plantings
that
out
area.
there, looks
right.
yeah.
And another developer is looking at the old hotel for redevelopment.
It's in the old Hotel Riviera.
Right, correct. And
Still
last
with
year, our village center designation was up for a reapproval. So
Yeah.
as part of that process, I suggested adding more to it. When one of areas, the Northern Gateway area on the other side of the river, and then also expanding it eastward to York Street to add some of the buildings there that could be converted to commercial use, and that was approved by the state. So that makes that whole expanded area is now eligible for certain tax incentives and grants that they can use to redevelop the buildings there. And by expanding it to the Northern Gateway and eastward to York Street, it makes those buildings eligible for the same programs from the state. So I think that those are incentives that should help spur more commercial growth in the downtown area.
And some of these initiatives, the Swanton Enhancement Project, of course, comes to mind.
I can absolutely. I'd like to, chime in on that too, and really thank the town select board too for having the courage to move forward and hire an economic development coordinator. I mean, Elizabeth Nance. Because almost daily, well, pretty much daily, you either get phone calls or emails on, what about this infrastructure? We have somebody of interest that is looking into the community and wanting to move in, and it's just it gives our development the Swanton Enhancement Project, but that momentum, it gives it true roots and true teeth that these people that are looking at Swanton they're seeing that we're serious about We want business. We want to be business friendly. We want, to revitalize our community. So make it vibrant too. And yeah, so I just can't thank them enough that's taken a lot off my plate to have that position there and to help look for opportunities. So.
Elizabeth has done a great job, and she's really helped tie. There's a lot of moving pieces in a small town, the trustees, the select board, and she's really helped tie all that together and really helped us move forward with a lot of different things. It's not just one project.
She's on board for at least a year. Was it a year appointment or a year job? Or
Till the end of this year, and then the select board will decide when budget season at the end of 2018 whether to continue with that position or not.
And that's a full-time position? You're getting some funding?
It's 20 hours a week for that.
20 hours a week.
She has a 1 day a week plus night meetings as administrative assistant, which is a separate position. And then she works 1 day a week for the Franklin County Industrial Corporation as an assistant to them. So all total it adds up to about 40, but there's no one single 40-hour position.
Right. Did you get? Was there some outside funding for her available for her, or is it?
No. The $31,000 that the select board approved came from the economic development fund the town has. And that was to get it started. And so, otherwise, the admin assistant is a continuation of what already existed. And then the other one is through the industrial corporation, so they needed extra help there.
The downtown, I still run into occasional people not happy with the downtown, the Merchants Row area configuration and the traffic. Is that do you not hear, Jeff, you hear mostly positive? Is that an issue that comes up once in a while or not?
I think when we did when we had the paving done, they relined things, they adjusted things a little bit, and we lost a spot or two. We really didn't lose that much parking, but I know we did lose a couple of spots.
So that was a complaint about that, perhaps?
Right. Change is painful. It doesn't matter if you put the line used to bend this way, now it bends that way.
But
People
you folks
don't like change.
See this as a good move. It sure seems like it defines going through that area.
That was the biggest complaint I always heard from people traveling through, or even where's the demarcation between the road and the driveway or the parking lot, and this is what the VTrans folks recommended for this area, and it has shown. We did traffic studies prior to this and after this. The average speed coming in up over the bridge to make that turn is reduced down to 15 to 20 miles an hour. So now it's not like a straight shot cutting through. They got to come out, and so now they're realigned to go down First Street. So there was some pain with it, but
you're happy. I mean, you think that's a solid improvement. Nothing you're looking at to make any changes in at this point.
Not at the moment. No, I think safety-wise, when you're in that parking lot,
I think it's much better safety-wise.
Truck traffic, of course, always an issue for the village, for Swanton. Reg, anything? I guess kind of the way it is. Not much you can do about it.
We keep hearing, if that auto route gets completed,
that should help. That would.
Yeah, but if that happens, they're going to have to improve border crossing. That's going to have to be a given. Otherwise, they will make that trek, 87, 78 into Swanton.
And I'm hearing the last kind of segment north of Highgate Springs there. At least seems like that still may be some years away. You may have a better handle on that than myself.
Well, I know Tim Smith from Franklin County Industrial Development. I know, I believe you guys, didn't you write a letter of support for it?
Right.
Yeah.
So, there's been letters of support sent to the Canadian government on it. So,
but that looks like something that may help in the future. But until that happens, it is what it is, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
So again, back to Swanton Enhancement Project. Any other visible things that folks can look forward to in 2018 about that?
I think we're going to have we got another economic development forum coming up. The substance abuse council has another meeting coming up, I believe, in March or April. So there's still pretty active. We got a couple of new chairs.
Yeah.
Ross Lavoie and like the other young gentleman escapes my name.
Tyler Wunsch.
Winch.
Or
Yeah,
Taylor Wunsch.
Tyler Winch. So there's 2 new folks in there, and they're doing well, and yeah, so it's still strong and moving forward. So.
Yeah.
I encourage folks, if they're interested in joining, reach out to us, and just tell us what you're interested in. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you involved.
And have you gotten some new people? Have some new people kind of jumped into that?
There've been a few.
few.
I think if we got the word out that this is an open organization, this is about our community. You are a part of our community, and we value what you have to say.
Yeah.
We want people that are going to come in and say, you know what, I don't like this. Here's why I don't like it. Here's how I'd like to see it changed, and I'd like to be part of that change.
Yeah,
And that's the big key right there, is being part of the change.
Yeah.
Some of it's not, just not completely understanding how the pieces move and fit together, and it's, people, you talk about, having meetings and say, oh, gee, I don't want to go to a meeting. Yeah, some meetings are boring, but some meetings are invigorating, and, you brainstorm while you're here, and, you just throw ideas out, and, it's a value-added process, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bruce Spalding, a recent visitor to Swanton Select Board meeting, and I guess is hoping that the Select Board of the town would name perhaps a bridge in honor of Vietnam veterans. David, is there some movement on that front? Or
There is the bridge across the river right by the dam is the one that was mentioned.
Yeah.
And they have 2 Vietnam veterans in mind who were killed in action in Vietnam. And since that meeting, I had a call from another Viet vet from St. Albans, who gave me a name of another Swanton resident who was killed over there. And we're researching that now to get more documentation on his residency here in Swanton. So I think that'll keep moving forward.
Does the state come into play with something like that, or?
They could. I think the intent is probably more to keep it local. They would be a resource for getting names. They think the intent of the plaque that they want by that bridge is to dedicate it to the ones who lost their lives in Vietnam, but also have the names of other Vietnam veterans on the plaque as an honor to those also. So that'll be moving forward. We're doing research on the names and also on plaques, what would be appropriate, what the cost would be, and so forth.
Right. What about the ongoing issue with the Swanton Public Library about the space issue on the second floor? Is that still unresolved? Can anybody jump in on that? It was the issue between the Swanton trustee, the library trustees, and
the select board, the way they left it is that it's an issue between that group and the library trustees, and not the select board.
The King's Daughter, is that the other group? Anyway.
Correct. And the trustees run the library. They're similar in nature to the select board. They have control of the library operations, even though the town owns the building. I think the general gist from the select board is to stay neutral.
Yeah.
And let them decide how they're going to handle it.
Seems like the library's faring well these days. Sounds like a pretty active Swanton Public Library these days.
Definitely. More and more activities all the time there, actually.
Yeah, that parking lot seems like it's always full.
Yeah, it's definitely been an uptick in activity level in the library.
Without a doubt.
Adam, looking forward to another good car show.
Absolutely. Year number 9, if you can believe it.
Number 9?
Number 9.
Wow.
It's, I remember the first year we had the park entirely packed with vehicles, and we only had 72.
Really?
Last year we had the park entirely packed with vehicles, and we had 243.
Wow.
So we've learned a few things over the years on how to park them, and we can't thank our participants enough. Without them and the sponsors that help us out, it's all about that, and without them we don't have a show. So
And some talk possible fireworks show associated with it. Is that
Right, the select board put $3,000
Oh.
in the budget this year to cover fireworks, and we're still kind of discussing what date would be appropriate to have them. Just try to tie it in with something existing, but one thought was the car show, but that ends in the early afternoon, and you'd have to wait, and it's right in the summer.
That's a good point.
When the days are
Timing is
longer.
a
Good point.
difficult thing with
Yeah.
the fireworks, trying to tie it in with
I didn't think of that.
other
Yeah.
activities.
I hear you.
But if you can again start an activity noon to 4 or noon to 6,
Yeah.
and then you got say a concert in the park from 6 to 9, to keep people in, and then you have the fireworks at dusk. I mean
Good idea.
that's the idea.
So the car show, you might possibly do that. Put the hours back later if you could do everything.
No,
at
I
once.
don't think we'll
I
do
don't
that
think so.
because with the amount of money each car is worth, nobody's going to stay past 3 o'clock.
All right.
Nobody wants to have bugs on their windshield when they leave. And
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So maybe just another day with a concert and fireworks or
yeah.
something might make
And
more sense.
we're going to talk on Sunday about the Swanton Art Spectacular that's being held on the 25th of August. That may be something where we can work it in. So
A few different days there.
Few
that
different
we're
days,
looking at the timing of it,
Yeah.
and make it work
The
out.
car show has been, I know this last summer, the last Saturday in July, is that
Saturday, July 28th.
Right, which makes for a great weekend. Another nice event around here is the Jig in the Valley in East
Yep.
Fairfield, which is the last Sunday in July. It's a pretty nice weekend,
Yep.
covering two
amazing
sides of
the
the
amount of
county,
weather
kind
you
of.
get.
David?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that Selectman John Lavoie is going to meet with the chamber to talk about the fireworks and
Yeah,
try to work
okay.
something out.
Okay. So I'm going to say. Reg, anybody in state government or elsewhere still would still like to get rid of the village dam with the lower village dam? Is that the name? Is that issue pretty quiet at this point, or?
We haven't heard anything in quite a while.
Until I brought it up.
Until you brought it up, Richard. Thank you again. But yeah, I mean, if you watching the news, James Ellers wants to run for governor. So
Right, now it's candidate for governor.
I'm kind of thinking that there's an ulterior motive behind that. So, but no, so far it's been pretty quiet.
Interesting. He probably didn't get the best. Of course, he's, I guess, an announced Democratic candidate for governor. Now we also have Christine Hallquist making
Yep.
some noise about
Yep.
running for governor.
Yep.
Certainly, someone who's got a pretty impressive energy background. I guess you know her. Do you know her pretty well?
I know of her. Yeah, when they had, I believe, VEC started the safety summit for a lot of the utilities in the state. So once a year we all get together and we bring the linemen in. We have a conference, have some good venues, some good speakers. Vendors are there, and yeah, they have good discussion about lineman safety. So, but yeah, she was a big advocate for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be an interesting. Of course, we're heading into a political year. It should be an interesting year. So, Jeff, you're down to your last few weeks on the select board.
I am.
Mixed. You'll obviously have some more time on your hands, but some mixed emotions about getting off.
I'll have a couple of Tuesday nights a week or a month open for some other activities. But I really enjoyed my time. But just like I said, I just need to take a break and maybe come back. I know the boards are always changing, and several of the guys on the select board have been there a long time, and they're probably going to get done. So not any time, but eventually. So at that time, probably would think about coming back and taking another position on. And
What's kind of stands out the most in your mind over those 2 years? A more complicated running a town, more complicated job than you thought, or?
I think there's a lot more going on in small town government than if you're not involved you would ever imagine. Honestly, it shocked me. It's very educational. I think everybody ought to put some time in, volunteer, get involved, and that's more people in the process, the better things work. More educated people are about what's actually going on there. More often than not, the less problems you're going to have.
Adam, you have that same sense that just a lot of folks just don't have a kind of a clue about how involved village,
it
town
can
government
get crazy.
can be?
It can get crazy.
Yeah.
When you're throwing numbers around, at budget time, it's, it makes you think. And, of course, as a trustee, there's 3 of us, and we all live in the village, and we all see the numbers, and we all know how it's going to affect us. And that's the whole key. We know how it's going to affect us, so we want to make sure we keep them down as low as possible.
Yeah.
We don't want to outprice ourselves, as I say.
Yeah.
So, we need to, but there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that goes on.
Yeah. David, Lake Champlain, a huge issue. We're down to a couple minutes. Lake Champlain water quality issues. That's something our Dr. Jeff, the select board's dealing with in some manner. It's a huge issue that's always out there with kind of the search for a funding source for however many millions of dollars folks think it's going to do to hopefully clean up Lake Champlain at some point.
Well, the town's doing its part through the highway
Yeah.
department. Every year we get some grants to do stone lining of ditches along our roadways to prevent the siltation from flowing down to the lake.
Yeah.
But I think on a town basis, regardless of what the town is, they just don't have the financial resources to deal with a problem so huge. So I think if every town did a little bit like Swanton is doing, then it helps in that way.
Yeah.
But it would take a much larger effort on the federal and state level to really get the lake cleaned up the way it needs to be.
Yeah. Reg, any quick thoughts on that huge issue?
We're just waiting for the shoe to drop for the wastewater plant.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of needing a big upgrade or a new plant, or
It's going to be to try to meet the new TMDL levels. So,
which you said, I think you've told us before, is just not possible given the current plant.
not possible with the design.
Wow. So big issue lurking down the road. Wow.
It's a good
Down
time
to about
jump.
1 minute. Adam, any quick final thoughts here?
It's an exciting time to be a resident of Swanton. There's
Yeah.
a lot of great stuff going on, and come out, get involved, and let's make it better together.
Yeah. I should note again, town meeting, the village meeting coming up on Tuesday, March 6th. I forgot to ask Kathy Fournier today, but folks can now vote now, or is it can they go in and vote at this point a couple weeks early?
Absentee ballots, I'm not sure when they'll be available, but
Okay,
it is
at
possible to do that.
Okay, at some point, if folks aren't able to deal with the March 6th, you can certainly vote ahead of time. Jeff, quick final word as you're signing off almost here.
I just want to thank everybody on the board and everybody involved. I enjoyed my time and I enjoyed the education.
Yeah.
Good job.
Very good.
Thanks, guys.
Brent, sounds like you've lost. I guess I'll let you stay there. David, you want the last word? I'm
Sure.
hoping obviously for
This is
a good
our
turnout too.
town's annual report for the year.
And a nice dedication to Dickie Longway.
Right, on the inside. And in the next week or so, these will be distributed to area businesses for the public to pick up.
Very good. Yeah, very nice dedication.
Yep.
Very good. So, hey, remember town meeting, folks, Tuesday, March 6th, and you can deal with it beforehand if you want. That's going to do it. Thank you very much to our guest, David Juskavich, the Swanton Town Administrator, Reg Beliveau, the Swanton Village Manager, outgoing Selectman, Mr. Jeff Raleigh, and Adam Paxman, Swanton Village Trustee. Thanks a lot for the time, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hope you
Richard.
get some attention at town meeting. And thanks to Sarah for doing all the hard work, Paul and Zach out there. Thanks for watching. We'll have another Swanton Today coming along in May. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for watching us here on Northwest Access TV, and we may be coming to you from our new headquarters come that next Swanton Today show. Thanks for watching. See ya.